live. Yes, I am. Oh, wow, for the first time. Okay, so I'm trying something different today. I do not know which one is going. I think they're both going at the same time. But I want to do a live video today, you guys. Oh, God, look at my hair. Hello, everybody. I'm Ali. You probably know who I am if you've seen some of my videos. I am so excited to be here. I usually do not do lives, but I decided today was a good day for that. Actually, this camera is looking a little dirty. Let me see. I don't know if that's any better. Probably need to turn on the lights. So anyway, I want to do some binding, and I was, working on a project, and I'm doing custom binding for this project that I'm making, and I'm trying to see if anybody here, what do you guys think about binding? I know sometimes making binding can be a little bit of headache, and it is a little bit challenging. Not so much the making of the binding, but the attaching of the binding. I mean, how many times have I add binding and I think it's a-okay, and then when I turn the piece around, I miss the stitching. It's just a mess, right? So I wanted to come here to see if anybody had any tips on how to do the right binding. I am currently cutting a piece of fabric. It's 14 by 14, so it's a square. And I wish I could show you. Let me see if I can flip the camera here. And I don't know if this is working or not, but I am going to put this camera here. Well, maybe I should do it the other way. Oh boy. What is this? Hold on. The other way. This way. Possibly. No. I don't know. Let me do this. So there's my piece of fabric, 14 by 14. I'm gonna cut it at a 45-degree angle. Actually, I'm gonna go in this. I'm gonna end it here. End. Okay, I'll play with that in a minute. So it's at a 45-degree angle, and I'm getting ready, to just cut that and then make it. My question is, and I don't know if anybody can then, if you're not watching it live right now, if you watch it later, would you let me know? The thickness, the width when you cut the binding. I've heard everything from 1.5 inches to up to 2.25 inches. And I have done the thicker binding that is like a double binding, and that one works. But I think I prefer the 1.5 inch with binding. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. What are the preferences? Because doing it like this, I mean, I just cut a little piece of a 14 by 14, right? And out of this piece, I can probably get about 6 yards of binding if I cut it at 1.5 inch wide. Obviously, because I'm able to cut more, right? What do you usually do? Let me turn this around now. Hey, I get my tripod because probably it's easier, a better idea if I, you know, set up this correctly. Hold on. Solution. Okay, there you are. Excuse my mess. Okay, so yes, that's what I want to know because I'm getting ready to cut this fabric at 45-degree angle. Actually, let me do that right now as we are here. And it's super easy because, right, I don't really measure the 45-degree angle. I take the piece of fabric and I just fold it like a triangle like that. And that is my marking for my 45-degree angle. So from one point to the other. And so we're cutting that. Okay. And so here I have, right, my two pieces of my two triangles. One triangle and the other triangle. And so now the question is, here I have my selvage and my other piece. Now I'm confused. Okay, so the right sides together, it has to be kind of like the long side here for one of the triangles and the other long side. So I have my selvage. It's this way. And I probably should have cut this now that I think about it. I don't know why I didn't do that. You know what? I am going to cut this selvage right here because it is kind of, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for now. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So let's go to the machine. Now, I haven't even set up the machine. I am definitely not ready for this, you guys. I am so sorry. I have to keep the machine covered, well, because it's not good, you know, it gets dusty or whatever. But also because I have a cat, and this cat loves to play with my thread. And it is true what they say about cats. I didn't know. My daughter is the one that decided that she wanted a cat, so which is fine. I love Valentino, but I'm learning the hard way. So this is how I thread my Yuki. I don't know if you've ever seen, if you own a Yuki or not, or but it's a little bit different than regular machines because you have this little bar with the two dots in there. So you have to put the dot through this hole and then under and then through the top and then through the disc and then here and then through the lever and then through this more for more tension. And of course you have to have your presser foot up to allow, you know, the thread to move through the thread path. And then once you have enough thread, you lower your presser foot and then you just thread your needle. If you can see through the hole. There you go. I have the presser foot for the Teflon presser foot on right now. I was working on a project with clear vinyl, and I think I'm going to leave it there. Now let me be a good girl and add my clips, because if I don't, most likely my fabric is going to move. And knowing me, my luck, I feel like I'm always, my fabric is always moving for some reason. So here it is, my fabric, it's all in there. So I have my 1/4 inch marking here. I lower my presser foot and I start stitching. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back stitch, 1, 2, 3. Oh, and I need to make the stitch length a little shorter. Because I had it at 3 millimeters, but it's because I was working on vinyl. And I keep going. Oh, and the speed is kind of slow. Let me increase the speed here. I had it low also because I was working on a clear vinyl. And when you're working with clear vinyl, you have to be very careful. So there it is. Much better. Okay. That did not sound good. Okay. So here it is, my piece of fabric. And see if I can make it. Yeah. So here it is, my piece of fabric for my binding. So it's this weird shape, right? And here's my seam, a 1/4 inch seam allowance. The best way right now to do, hi, I'm making binding. I'm making custom binding for a project. I usually do not like to make binding. I'd rather buy it already made, to be honest with you. But for this project, I figured it will look better if I have custom binding. So what I need to do now is heat up my iron because the best, oh, thank you. Yes, it is. Isn't this a gorgeous fabric? Look at that. I fell in love with it and I only got 1 yard and I'm regretting it right now. I'm like, I should have gotten more. I'll probably go to the store and get some more later because there's so much that can be done with this pretty fabric. um, so yeah, I'm just going to now make this seam really flat. I think that's one of the secrets when you're making binding is having that hot iron. And I actually use this a lot. The light hold starch pretty much. If it wasn't because of this starch, I'd probably be fighting with binding all of the time because the fabric just opens up so easily. But this keeps it from opening and it's so much better. So I'm just gonna wait for the iron to heat up. Oh, I got a mess over here. Let me move my camera. Hello. Sorry for the mess. Excuse the mess. I have so much going on in this room. Anyway, so I hope you can see. Yes, I think that's a good angle. Yes, I agree. I mean, why not? I've seen so many tutorials and on how to make binding, and I don't ever see anybody talking about starch. And I'm like, that is the best kept secret right there. It's like my can is almost empty now. I mean, I use it so much. It's crazy. I really use it for everything. So let me go ahead and spray some of that in there. And let me get my iron. It's hot now, I think. Should be. And I'm just going to iron this. Oh, I made a mess. Of course. Oh, let's see. I got this cordless iron and it takes time to get used to it. But there you go. Okay, much better. You have to start from an edge. You got to start from the beginning and then it kind of opens the seam as you are ironing. Okay, so here we go. So much better. I mean, it already feels flat and stiff. It's just not going to open anymore. Perfect. And I tried to iron the whole piece of fabric. It's always better to work with fabric that is flat and smooth and no wrinkles. I know that a lot of people do not like to iron either, but if you're going to be sewing, This is your next best friend right here. Okay, let me put it there. So now the question was the width for this binding. I've heard, see, I'm folding this one side right here, and then I'm going to fold the other side to make that square with the double opening, and then it's flat on one side, right? But the question is the width. I have made binding that is 1.5, is it 1.5? Yeah, 1.5 inch wide. That size seems to work for me. I've seen other people make binding that is 2 inches wide, up to 2.25, and those are really like double bindings, which could be easy. I mean, I guess easier to work. I'm not really sure. I mean, I try not to make so much binding if I don't have to. That's probably why I always forget how many inches and all of that. So let me see. Uh, okay. Let me starch this thing a little more. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do 1.5 inches wide because I'm thinking um my seam, the seam that I want for this project, I'm making a jewelry organizer. It's a 1/4 inch. So if I have a 1/4 inch on one side and a 1/4 inch on the other side, that's 1/2 inch. Plus what's on the inside, the folded, that's an inch. And then 1/2 inch to kind of allow for the thickness and etc. So I think I'm going to do 1.5. Okay, so I have my beautiful little square here. Look at that, how pretty. This fabric really is pretty. Okay, now let me move this around. I don't have a lot of room here to do my sewing, so I have to keep moving things around. One way or another, make it work. Okay, there's the rest of the stuff that I'm making. This is the jewelry organizer. So this is the rest of the fabric, and this is going to be the lining. And then these are some of the pieces that are going inside the jewelry organizer. So yeah, I'm excited about this. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to oh, thank you. Yes, it really is gorgeous. I bought it at Joann, and it's absolutely stunning. Oh, and I did good with look how pretty that look. I matched the color. That was by pure accident. I didn't try to do that. That was just the luck. I was lucky. Oh boy. Okay. So, since I have to set up here to start cutting and all of that, I think I'm going to stop for now. And I just wanted to try. I know, right? I was just trying here the live and see how I like it and see if I was so nervous. So I think I kind of passed that fear stage of going live. But thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Ciao.